Yep, and here we are for round 1. I don't know what my opponent is playing, obviously. Looking at this hand, my opponent goes first. I have 4 lands. Now, this hand isn't great for the fact that it's super slow. If I was on the play, I would strongly consider keeping the hand, though, because although you don't usually want to have such a slow hand, both these cards gain value pretty quickly. But this deck has so many cheap cards, I may as well mulligan, try to find a better hand. Yep, this is good. Keep. It's a little awkward that I can't play Shock on turn 1. I can only do it on turn 2, but also I have other cards I want to be playing on turn 2. Let's see, my opponent's on the play. Hopefully they're not on something that Shock isn't good against. Okay, this is a little awkward. I'll Shock with Watery Grave here so that I can play Opt. I really wish I would be able to Shock the Elf, but unfortunately, I am not. If my opponent plays a Steel Leaf Champion or something like that, I will be in a very bad position, but it looks like they're on green-black, not on a mono-green deck. I do admit that's one of the reasons I'll keep Sulfur Falls. I decided to play Cast Downs over, for instance, Lightning Strikes, is because sometimes you play against the Nullhide Ferox deck, sometimes you play against the Steel Leaf Champion deck, sometimes you just need that power level. Now the question is here, do I want to hold up Syncopate or do I want to Shock it now? I think I have to wait, because if I Shock the Elf and they play like... I'll just wait. They'll be very tempted to play a 4-drop here, I would imagine. And nailing a Vraska, for instance, a 4-mana Vraska would be great. I'm definitely going to tap out at some point to play the Discovery. So being able to Syncopate something for 1 this turn, and then Discovery, Dispersal plus Shock next turn would be good. Yep, perfect, perfect. This is all playing into the game plan of getting a Niv-Mizzet down later on in the game, or getting value with Crackling Drakes. So this Discovery Dispersal, I'm pretty much going to bottom any card that isn't one of those cards I mentioned, the big creatures. Okay, Ral in this case will serve the same purpose as being a threat that we can play down and start getting incremental value from. So I'll keep both on top, the 5th land to cast the Ral. And now, just to save myself some damage and stop them from casting things, I'll kill the Elf. Now, they might not have another forest to play their Jadelight Ranger or other double green cards they could have. I found that this deck, at least before I added the cast downs and made a few of the changes, was a little weak to green-black, especially Wild Growth Walker, because Wild Growth Walker would very quickly become a lot bigger than you would be able to answer easily with your Shocks and cards like that. Thankfully, at this point, we do have cast downs and stuff, so if they play a big creature, I can still kill it. Now, I want to have Ral next turn, so I'm going to try to keep any interactive cards I can, so that I can hopefully protect him. I'll look at how many instant sorceries I have in the graveyard. I have 4 currently, which will be 5 with this Discovery. So I'm confident that when I play Ral Zarek, his minus ability, it deals damage equal to the number of instant sorcery cards in exile and in my graveyard. So if I have enough, then he can defend himself, which looks like he does now. So I don't feel like I have to bin this Opt, I'll just keep it. Generally, Opt is going to be better than a random card. Yeah, I'll just play that tapped. Hopefully my opponent doesn't play a big threat this turn, and lets me Shock the Midnight Reaper, untap, and play Ral Zarek and minus on their next threat. Okay, there's the Wild Growth Walker that I mentioned previous. It'll be awkward for me if they play 2 threats. Yes, like that. That's fine. Now, should I wait until after the Squire resolves Yes, I'll wait till the Squire resolves. No reason to let them draw a card now. Okay, they reveal the Vraska. They're obviously going to keep the Vraska. Well, maybe not obviously if they don't have lands in hand. Okay, but they did keep the Vraska. And now I will shock the Midnight Reaper. It'd be very nice if I had, for instance, a Field of Ruin that I would be able to shuffle away the Vraska, but unfortunately that is not a card that I have access to because of Niv-Mizzet's very strict casting cost. Okay, so they have 5 lands. They could easily cast Vraska next turn, but if they play Vraska next turn, it's going to be very difficult for me to beat regardless. So I think the best play is to cast Ralzarak and start ticking him up, trying to find a Niv-Mizzet or Crackling Drake, with the side benefit of hoping that they don't cast Vraska on the next turn. The other card I'm worried about is Jadelight Ranger, because Ral is going to go to 6 loyalty.
Today's forecast is ooh, a battle. I'm all tingly. Or it might just be static.
He'll go to 6 loyalty, but if they have Jadelight Ranger, then he will go down to... Well, he'll go down to 0 loyalty, because this will grow 2 times.
Let's see what we got.
Okay, let's see. What do we got? Opt and dive down. I think I will... Because I want to dive down at some point. One of the easiest ways to steal games with this deck is to play a creature, they try to kill it with Vraska, and you dive down it, which gives you a huge advantage in like loyalty, because they spend 3 loyalty to try to kill your creature, and then you can attack the Vraska pretty much no matter what Vraska's on, if that is what happens. Oh, that's brutal. That is not good for me at all.
That tickled.
Okay, well, they didn't have a land, which is a good thing, I suppose. Well, it's the same as last turn, essentially, except now they have an Elders Reborn in play.
I never back down. You ready to go toe-to-toe with me?
Yeah, so I'll take this. I'll just play this tapped. Now, we can definitely still win. It is going to be very dicey, though. At this point, I will just discard Opt. I want to keep Dive Down to protect from the Vraska. If they play a land in Vraska this turn, I think that's lights out for us. If we can survive just one more turn, they can Eldritch Reborn back the Ralzarak, but they don't have any instant sorceries. They're not pressuring my creature if I play it. Okay, they're finding back 2 creatures, and they're going to play some out. So the best case scenario for me here is if I draw Niv-Mizzet and Ral into a land to hold up Dive Down for the Vraska minus.
You're good. No,
assuming they play Vraska next turn. Okay, Dragon's Hoard is unfortunately not it. Gold plus, Ralzarak.
Oh, come on.
Okay, still haven't hit a Niv-Mizzet or a Crackling Drake or Nicol, but that's fine. I will take the cast down, play Dragon's Hoard, and I will pass turn. Now, the reason why I'm doing it this way is I can, if they make attacks to Ralzarak, I can cast down 2 creatures, so they have to commit a lot to attack Ralzarak. For instance, if they attack Midnight Reaper at Ralzarak and those 2 at me, I can easily kill the Ralzarak and stop them from attacking.
Decisions.
So they milled a Gilgate with Ral. You choose one of the 2 cards, put the other one into your hand. So they chose to take, presumably, a land of some sort to play Vraska. I feel like you would generally take a land over any other card in that position because of the strength of Vraska. I don't know what they could be afraid of in terms of attacking. Okay, so they're attacking Midnight Reaper at Ral. Wildgrowth Walker at me, Seeker Squire at me. Okay, well, I'll cast down Midnight Reaper first, don't want them to draw too many extra cards. They're definitely going to get some. Yep, they can draw a card and lose a life. And I will, just for good measure, cast down the Wild Growth Walker. I'm going to have to do it at some point. May as well do it now. I'm not going to pretend to have a counter spell, because they're going to play Vraska into that mana anyway, realistically. Yep, so I took 2. Okay, Doom Whisperer. That's actually decent for me, because... in fact, how many cast downs have I used? I've used 1, 2... Okay. I might need to Ral minus on that, even as bad as that is. The cards that kill Doom Whisperer in my deck, I have 3 cast downs, and I have the Ral Zarek minus ability. But other than that, I don't have much. Alternatively, I can plus it and try to find a Niv-Mizzet and hope that Niv-Mizzet is powerful enough to win me the game. And at this point, I'm pretty desperate, so I think I will actually plus on Ral looking for Niv-Mizzet.
Choose wisely, because the other one's going bye-bye.
Okay, there's Niv-Mizzet. Now, we definitely aren't in a good position from here, but we have a way to win. Now, what I want to happen on the next turn, they play Vraska, they use Vraska minus on Niv-Mizzet, and I play Dive Down to protect it. That is what I want to happen the most out of any alternative that could happen. Just making sure... Yep, they only have 1 in the graveyard, so there's no way they could kill anything with Ral. At least at this point. Let's turn down Voice and SFX. Okay, my end step, sure. End. It's an inconvenient part of the tapping for Arena. I really would have loved to have kept up a Steam Vents, but it's much of a muchness, really. It would be very awkward for me if they used Doom Whisperer's ability to mill 6 to get up to, 5. They get up to 5 instant sources in graveyard, but that deck generally plays only 7 or 8 maximum. They usually play Chupacabra as a set of removal spells, and Vraska as a set of removal spells, so they might have a few Assassin's Trophies, and maybe a Contempt or 2, but generally not much. That's probably not a good sign that they've milled their Assassin's Trophy rather than drawing it. Okay, let's see what happens here. Okay, they're plussing. That's fine.
Just want to peek. The weight is killing me.
The weight is killing me too, Ral. Okay, so they binned a Llanowar Elf on that, so whatever card they got off that is better than Llanowar Elf. If I had to give a percentage of what chance I have to win this game, I'd put it probably around 20%, 25%. My out to victory is what I mentioned before. Vraska, and then Vraska minus on Niv-Mizzet, and I use Dive Down, and then I have a really big turn next turn. Yep, so they try to destroy it. And I save it. With Dive Down. The next turn, I can kill Vraska with 3 pings. Kill Doom Whisperer with Ral Zarek's minus, and attack Niv-Mizzet at their Ral Zarek. Yep, so resolve that. Which fizzles, because I gave my Niv-Mizzet hexproof. They can't attack here, or I'll just block and ping it using the Dragon's Hoard. Yep, Llanowar Elf, that's acceptable. Yep, so in combat, they probably won't attack. Yep. Okay, they definitely did not attack. Okay, end step, I will draw a card. I really want to draw, like, shocks at this point, cast down. Okay, land is not what I wanted, but I'll shoot Vraska. Vraska's at 1. I'll draw a card. Unfortunately, drew a land again. Minus on Vraska. Okay, now it's a little unfortunate that I don't have an instant or sorcery because it allows me to chain through my deck. Like even a shock, for instance, at this point, I could shock, see what I get, continue. Let's turn down the music a little bit as we get to this point of the game. I have a choice here. I can either Ralzarek plus, trying to hit a spell or a creature, or I could minus it and kill Doom Whisperer and then attack Ralzarek. The issue is if I minus on Doom Whisperer and then attack, it doesn't even kill the Ral. They could easily have another Vraska. I think I need a plus, which is the much riskier play, because I don't think the play that I have access at the moment is good enough for me to win. Okay, shock. So I'll play shock now. I'll just target the Ralzarek at the moment. Start dropping its loyalty as much as I can. I'll draw a card. Okay, another copy of Niv-Mizzet. I'll deal 1 to the Doom Whisperer. And I swear there's logic to what I'm about to do.
Here's my ego too.
We'll go to combat. Now I'll attack Niv-Mizzet at Ral. So I can trade it with Doom Whisperer here if my opponent wants, but I have a second copy in my hand that I will be able to play. Yep, so they're blocking with Doom Whisperer. So this is actually going exactly how I wanted it to. Perfect. So the best land to have up at the end is a Steam Vent. So I'll actually play a... I have only 3 red sources down now. So I'll play Mountain. Then I'll manually tap for red, 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 blue, blue, blue for Niv-Mizzet. Now I took the fairly risky line this turn, and that is why, because now I think I'm close to being ahead. I'm not greedy to think that I'm ahead right now, but my opponent probably can't clear my Ral this turn, which is a big plus. I have a free ping ready. If I draw an Opt or a Shock, man, game on. My opponent just can't play Doom Whisperer because I could kill it with Ral, for instance. I could have drawn a card to kill the elf, but I'd rather store up card draws and pings on a big turn to kill one threat.
Well, let's see what the wind blows in.
Be quiet, Ral. You're only allowed to make quips when I'm playing you, not when my opponent is playing you. Yep, so they got rid of Forest and they drew a card. Played Swamp. Okay, Chupacabra is a good draw for them. I will use my Dragon Sword to draw a card. Oh, I should have done this first. If I get a Syncopate off of this, I really would have wished I'd been able to Syncopate the Chupacabra. Although the only card I think that really punishes me is that. Okay, so I'll actually look at the board. So this is on 6, so I can deal it 1 damage with... thinking. I'll actually clear my opponent's board here. So 1 damage can go to Llanowar Elves, and still in response to Chupacabra, I will Shock plus ping the Seeker Squire to deal that 3 damage. Yep. So 2 damage to Seeker Squire. Draw a card from Niv-Mizzet. If you've ever played other card games, this is kind of like spell power. Every spell I cast gets +1 damage. So Shock, in this case, does 3 damage. Hopefully this game shows the true power of Niv-Mizzet. I'm sure you saw a few turns ago when they Eldritch Reborn my Ral, how far behind I was. But Niv-Mizzet just draws you so many cards. I'm definitely not out of it yet. Like, I wouldn't say I'm winning at this point, but if my opponent doesn't have a good follow-up, then all bets are off. Unfortunately, this is not a dragon. This is only a drake. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. I would love to be able to play 2 spells this turn. So like another Crackling Drake or a Nicol Bolas. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. So I'll play Nicol Bolas first. Get a cannon on Dragon's Hoard. Pretty sweet entry animation. They discarded a Golgari Guildgate. Yep, so they have Overgrown Tomb and a mystery card, which could very easily be a land. I will... There's nothing I really want to do on 5 mana, so I'll just play Crackling Drake and draw a card first. Yep, Summit. And I'll just play a untapped land, Drowned Catacomb. Now, as you can see, Crackling Drake gets very large in this deck. Large enough that I'm potentially able to deal my opponent lethal damage in 1 attack next turn. Alternatively, I'll be able to flip Nicol Bolas the Ravager and return Niv-Mizzet, which is also a big play. Or return their Vraskar. The world is my oyster. They still only have 2 instant sorceries in their graveyard. Oh, my opponent was waiting on me. Apologies, opponent.
Decisions.
Okay, Jadelight Ranger is good. The fact they're playing Jadelight Ranger here, it signals to me that they don't have an answer currently. They're looking for an answer. Okay, they have an Assassin's Trophy on top, which I assume they will keep because they don't have an answer otherwise to what I have currently. Okay, so they have a Chupacabra. Now, I will draw a card now. Ah, Niv-Mizzet. Perfect. Now, they'll presumably destroy the Crackling Drake. But if they don't, I could flip Nicol Bolas. So this is actually a tough opponent. I don't know what my opponent's going to choose. Okay, they did get rid of the Crackling Drake. Now, this is one heck of a game of Magic. This is Magic the way Richard Garfield intended it, to be certain. Okay, Discovery Dispersal, that's a good draw. If I go Niv-Mizzet, Discovery Dispersal, I get 2 pings from Niv-Mizzet. So currently I can go 4 damage from this, 5, 6 damage from Discovery and Niv-Mizzet's trigger, and 1 damage from Dragon's Hoard, which will clear the Ral, and then I think I'll actually be in the driver's seat again. I will probably use Ral to minus on Jadelight Ranger, though. Do they have any Chupacabras in their graveyard as well? I should check that first, because they do have the 2 Memorial to Follies left. Ooh, that's also a good play. Dispersal, I can cast during my opponent's draw step, which, actually that doesn't work, because I could return Ral to my own hand, but I'd rather just get the draw. So I will go to combat, attack with Nicol Bolas at Ral Zarek, damage. I'll play a little bit faster so that I don't run out of time. Get a token, Discovery Dispersal, Surveil 2. Yeah, draw. Ooh, dive down. That's a good one. That's a very good draw. Shoot that. Surveil 2. Graveyard both of those. Draw a card. Another Niv-Mizzet. One more to Ral. Draw a card off the Dragon's Hoard. One more to Ral. I'll just cement my, now, as I can say for certain, my lead. It sounds weird to have a lead. I'll shock, and I will pass turn. Now, I'm not afraid of my opponent's Assassin's Trophy because I can respond with Dive Down as well as killing one of his creatures. Hopefully this game can show you the real grinding power of this deck. You can be so far behind, but as soon as you get Niv-Mizzet out and cast a few spells, you just get to get so much advantage. So draw a card with Niv-Mizzet. I will just shoot the Merfolk Branchwalker. Yep, then dive down on Niv-Mizzet. Yep, draw a card. Just kill down our elves. And now at this point, I just want to kill my opponent. I'm not going to play around and I'm not going to deck out. And the opponent just concedes. So that was an incredibly long, but also, in my mind, a great game of Magic. There was lots of decisions made by both players. Now, what do I want for the second game? I find that in this kind of matchup, I can't rely... I know I was just speaking about how good Niv-Mizzet is, but I can't rely on it only because my opponent has Chupacabras and Vraskas. I have to have it as a late game play when I already have plenty up. Now, Arguel's Bloodfast would be good, but I don't have enough time in the early game to develop using that to... because they have too much power on the board. Beacon Bolt I really like because they may Duress you, but this card still generates value regardless. And Thief of Sanity, if they don't have an answer to this card, which often they don't have a lot of answers other than Chupacabra, and sometimes they can't cast it on 4, they have to use it on Thief of Sanity instead of one of your bigger threats. I don't mind that too much. Now, Shock is a card that is only good against, realistically, the Llanowar Elves. Sometimes you can hit a 3-2 Jade Light Ranger with it, but I like to cut those. Now, how many cards is this? This is 60. Phoenix, I think I will put into the deck. It's good against the Vraskas, especially... You need lots of ways to help against Vraska 6. You don't have to have 100% answers, but you need to stop them from being able to play it and just run you over with it. So I'll cut a Discovery Dispersal, and I will cut another 4-drop. I think Nicol Bolas is better than Crackling Drake, so I'll cut a Crackling Drake. In fact, I'll cut 2 Nicol Bolas. It is much of a muchness as to which you go. I'm not 100% sure, and I missed the submission, so I guess we're playing with the main deck again. Either way, I feel like the main deck is pretty well suited. The only issue that I have found is that Niv-Mizzet is a little weak to the Chupacabra and to the Vraska. The worst part is that you don't even get to draw a card. I'll keep this. If they play an elf, I will probably just shock it straight away. Try to keep them down on mana. Because I have 3 removal spells, hopefully I can remove their early plays and stop them from developing. Often this kind of deck is boarding in cards like Chupacabra, sorry, not Chupacabra, a Carnage Tyrant. Carnage Tyrant, Vivian Reed, Vraskas. And sometimes you just have to... You have to get their small stuff and hope they don't get the lands. So they started with Swamp. Yeah, Wild Growth Walker, that can resolve. I'll opt. I'm bottoming anything but a land. Critical. Apologies if you heard that. don't know where the cable is for this. Oh well. I'll just deal. Okay, so get smart in the chat. I'll see if I can pull the chat window up. I'm not sure if it showed up. So I am currently doing this on Twitch. So anything that is in the chat should be able to be seen on the YouTube page. As this is just a test video to see how it comes out. I think I'd rather do them on Magic Online in future rather than as a rather than on Twitch. You missed an incredible game, by the way. I thought there's no way I can win if they have anything, and then immediately afterwards they Eldest Reborned on turn 5. I'm like, man, I'm so dead. And then about 20 turns later, when I had 5 cards in library, I ended up winning.
The dragon whispered, I don't need this. I need this.
I'll discard an extra copy of Ral. I feel like next turn I'm going to have to use 2 removal spells to save my Sarkhan, if I want to save my Sarkhan. Oh, that's gross. I never thought about Vraska being able to just pop off Sarkhan. Oh well. You win some, you lose some. In this case, lose some. At this point, I think my most likely route to victory is by just jamming Crackling Drake and hoping they don't have Chupacabra for it. The Vraska I'm not too scared about. The plus makes you sacrifice lands or permanents in play. Oh, well, they did have the Chupacabra. He used Eldest Reborn on, and he returned my own Ral Zarek, and then he had Ral Zarek in play for like 6 or 7 turns. I'm not sure why, but the chat box isn't showing up on the side of the stream. I'm just going to test it quickly. Oh, that's odd. It was there for a moment. Let me test again. Yeah, it should be there. Oh yeah, it's there. It just fades very quickly. This is not going great. What I was saying just before testing that is Vraska, the minus was very good there, but the plus I'm not too worried about, because if they sacrifice lands, they're farther away from playing their expensive cards, which are, in my mind, the important parts here. Now this turn I'll just play Ral, and then I'll hopefully be able to play 2 or 3 removal spells on the next turn. Dragon Sword or Opt. I'll take Opt here. I don't have an answer to Vraska at the moment, and Vraska could just kill the Dragon Sword. Yeah, I'll see if I can quickly change that now. Just go down to Properties. Okay, I'll make them fade after 1 minute instead of after 15 seconds. There you go. And they contempted my Planeswalker, so unfortunately this game they've had the answer for pretty much everything I've played. Although last game they had that and we still managed to come through. Like, the thing about the Vraska is they could sacrifice something to draw a card and gain a life, but they don't want to sack their lands, they don't want to sack their creatures. I'll just Opt here. Yep, I'll keep Niv-Mizzet. So we have a realistic route to victory in this game. This turn, kill both creatures. Next turn, Niv-Mizzet holding up, dive down. Now this is one turn where we have to hope they don't play something good. They have 6 lands but only 1 green, so hopefully it's like a Jadelight Ranger or something. Yep, so shock 1. Alternatively, you could keep the shock, so you could Niv-Mizzet plus shock, but I don't think I would like to do that. Potentially that could have been better. would have gone to 3. They would have had Chupacabra in play still. Ah, Branchwalker. Okay. So how I think this next turn's going to play out, I'm going to play Niv-Mizzet. They'll end step, return the Chupacabra with Memorial. They'll untap, they'll try to Chupacabra the Niv-Mizzet. I'll dive it down, and then I will quickly take over the game after that. That's just a guess. Oh, drew a shock anyway. Played perfectly. Okay, so what land is it leaving me? It's leaving me a Steam Vents? Sure. Yep, Niv-Mizzet. Okay, so Grixis Leader is asking in chat, how do they get Ralzarek into play? Okay, there's a card called the Eldest Reborn. It's a black saga. So the first step when they play it is I have to sacrifice a creature or planeswalker. In that case, I sacrificed my Ralzarek. The second step, so on the second turn, I have to discard a card, which I did. It was an irrelevant card. The third step, they can bring back any creature or planeswalker from the graveyard to the battlefield. So they chose my Ralzarek. And Ralzarek's pretty good, so I was not happy with that exchange. I'll put it that way. It wasn't the best exchange for me. Okay, so will they Memorial back the Chupacabra? Like I was mentioning before, with Vraska, they sacrificed a land last turn. Now they're only down to 4 lands in play. Like, they couldn't even play a Carnage Tyrant or Vraska if they had one. Yep, so here comes the Chupacabra, I assume. Yeah, Eldest Reborn is very powerful if your opponent is playing only powerful creatures and planeswalkers like this deck. If you're playing a bunch of cheap creatures like, you know, mono red, you don't have time to...
You'll have to try harder than that.
You don't have time to play a 5 mana, kill your 2-drop creature. But in this deck, my opponent played a 5-cost enchantment and killed my Niv-Mizzet. That'd obviously be a good trade for them. You could counter it by playing a cheap creature like Goblin Electromancer or something like that. But yeah, at this point, I'm just hoping that I'm able to keep my opponent's board clear. I hope that this shock draws me something. So shock, Vraska, and hopefully draw a spell. Come on, spell. Or creature. Not land. Okay. Well, I didn't draw a spell. We'll shoot their face and clear the Vraska. Yeah, 1 attacker at Vraska. Okay, now I have to fade something from my opponent because I really don't have much else if they kill this Niv-Mizzet. I can beat a lot of things, but there are a lot of things I can't beat. I think Eldest Reborn would be the worst card for me. Okay, Assassin's Trophy I can deal with, because I get to draw a card, which was also a land. And I will take the action. Thankfully for me, they've used Assassin's Trophy, which means they don't have a Chupacabra, they probably don't have a Vraska, they don't have, like, a... Well, if they had a Carnage Tyrant, they probably would... I think they would have played Carnage Tyrant over the Assassin's Trophy. I'm not sure. It means they probably don't have a lot of action in hand, just like a bunch of random creatures. So if I was to, for instance, draw a Niv-Mizzet here, I think the Niv-Mizzet would survive. Okay, do I have enough mana to play that and flip it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm 1 mana off playing this and transforming it. My opponent has only 1 card, so I can put them to 0 cards in hand. A Wild Growth Walker. Yeah, so the hand was full of random cards. So I just have to hope my opponent doesn't have nothing for 1 turn. Then I can flip Nicol Bolas, maybe? Maybe? Get back a Vraska? Oh, wrong Vraska, but... Get back a Niv-Mizzet? Maybe? Go to 1 life? 1 life's all you need. I'd be more likely to return... Ooh, District Guide, okay. So if I draw pretty much any instant or sorcery, I can return Niv-Mizzet and use that. What else could I return? I could return a Chupacabra from them with, oh, they've got a Golgari Guildgate. Wait, is there a Chupacabra in here? So there's no Chupacabra. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could... flip it, return Niv-Mizzet, and then use this to kill one creature, have a blocker for the other creature. I could do that. I could return Ral. Whatever I return has to interact with the board. And it has to be a creature to block the other one. So yeah, I think I have to pay 7 mana. I could have attacked for 4 first. That was my mistake. -4. I will return from my graveyard the Niv-Mizzet. Then I'll play Discovery Dispersal, which will draw me a card from the card's effect and one more from Niv-Mizzet itself, which allows me to kill off one of their things. I'll kill off the Chupacabra so that if I get the ability to, I can return it with the Nicol Bolas. At this point, I think I'm past the point of another Niv-Mizzet, so I'll bottom both of those. Yep, perfect. Another Discovery Dispersal. Shoot the Chupacabra. Now, I believe I've played a land this turn. No, I haven't, so I'll quickly play this other Discovery Dispersal, which will give my opponent, I believe, no outs. Well, not no outs, sorry, but they will have much fewer outs because their whole board will be gone. I'll keep Syncopate. I'll just keep any spell. I do have extra time here because I've played fast on my previous turns. Yeah, well, there you have it. That's the deck. That's the power of Niv-Mizzet, the power of Nicol Bolas, power of Crackling Drake. Not this turn, but yes, perfect. If I didn't draw that spell there, I would have died to the Chupacabra. Okay, well, let's start off by... Yep, so this is one of the common play patterns you'll find with Nicol Bolas, is I will -3, Nicol Bolas deal 10 damage to Chupacabra. But I just lost my powerful Planeswalker. Why would I do that? Well, Sulfur Falls, play Nicol Bolas. I'll flip Nicol Bolas. Then I will minus Nicol Bolas to return the Nicol Bolas to play. If I can get him in... Yep. Yep, so if anything was to go wrong, I would already have another Nicol Bolas in play. And next turn I can kill their threat, flip Nicol Bolas, get back Nicol Bolas. They have to draw something incredibly good here. I don't even know what they would need to win. Well, I'm glad you joined me for that match, because both games were long, very interactive, and filled with, well, a few interesting decisions in my mind. So for now I'm going to pause, and then I will meet you back for round 2. I'll hopefully be going through the whole round, well, the whole league.